Thank you for tuning into another episode of the MPAKT Podcast. I'm your host, LBJ, and today I'm super excited to introduce Jarrell Green. Jarrell is the founder of MeetVeganBae. He is a recent graduate of Herzing University. He's a member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated, and he's a member of Forbes The Culture. Jarrell, I'm super excited, super grateful to have you on the show. Can't wait for people to hear
Yes,
about
sir.
your story and your entrepreneurship journey. How are you doing today?
Sterling, sir. Thank you so much for asking, and I really appreciate again this opportunity to have this conversation and this dialogue with you, man. I'm excited.
Of course, of course. Like I was telling you this before the show started, but when I saw you in Forbes The Culture, and I was like, virtual reality, augmented reality, dating app for vegans. I was like, this is interesting. Like, this is super unique, super cool.
Yeah,
Um, you know,
yeah,
I'd love for you to give people a bit of a high level of the company, kind of, what is MeetVeganBae? We'll go into some of those details a little bit later, but
sure.
what's the elevator pitch?
Oh man. So the elevator pitch is always in formation, man. But in short, Meet Vegan Bay is um I like to say the world's first AR VR exclusively vegan dating app. And what it focuses on is a underrepresented, in my opinion, culture or community of people that desire to find love and companionship,
Yeah,
and that's what we focus on. And we not only focus on the dating aspect of it, because you may not find a date, but you can find a good friend, and that's why
yeah,
we say the companionship part, because companionship can be just platonic friends. But so that's what it is in short, and it's just a new innovative way for people to meet people and to kind
yeah.
of be safe as well. Lend itself to safety, and we also we gamified the app as well. So we'll talk about that a little bit later. But we also wanted to make it a little bit more interactive and engaging for people just to come in and have an experience. So yeah, that's me, Vegan Bay, and as a whole, it's still growing, it's still forming, it's still
Yeah.
developing. We're still getting feedback from our users to see what they want and what they don't want. So, but right now, that's what it is. It's a place for vegans to go and meet
I
virtually.
absolutely I I absolutely love that. That's super cool. All right, so
Thank you.
we'll go into some of that, but before we go into that, where does your story start? Where are you from? What's your background, Jarrell? I'd love to hear some of that.
Yeah, man. So I'm born and raised St. Louis, Missouri. Um, I
You see, I got
do.
my STL cap on. I did not know
Is
I
it
was
really? I
talking
can't
to
see.
it.
It's the glare right
Yeah,
there. I
it's
can't see
the
it.
yeah.
Yes, sir.
I
Yes,
did not know
sir.
you were from St. Louis. I love
Yes, sir.
that.
Yep, yep. Born and raised, man. I went to
Same here.
yeah, I grew up in a lot of the areas, man. Really, I remember
Yeah,
going to elementary school in Normandy for a little bit. Went to school in the Ferguson Florissant School District,
yeah.
Hazelwood School District. That's where I graduated from, in the Hazelwood School District in Florissant area. Well, my
That's
dad lived on the
incredible.
north side. Grandparents stayed on the, my mother's side is from Kinloch
Okay, yeah.
and Berkeley area. My dad is from the city, so
Yep.
different areas in the city. So it's kind of a blend of both. And yeah, man, born and raised. The U City Loop is actually one of my favorite spots to visit when I go back home. Um, you know,
Absolutely.
be, because before any of this, before I founded my app, I was in music, right? And
Yeah.
I did that for a great bit of my like childhood. Really, I started at like 14 years old, and I
Wow.
stopped doing music when I was like 30 or 31. I'm 37 now,
Yeah.
and so I that was where my earliest entrepreneurship came in. I've always been diplomatic, and I've always been a person to be, think outside the box and just been different and unique in that manner. And so that was my
Yeah.
earliest introduction into it. However, I didn't really know much about it, but I knew what I wanted to do. And so we kind of formed our own record label. We thought we were, Cash Money and
I gotta
No
ask, what
Limit.
was it called?
It was so the group that I was in a rap group, a hip hop group called Young Entrepreneur Squad, or Y.E. Dollar Sign. That was
That's
our
dope.
tag.
Yeah.
And the record label we formed was Yes Entertainment. and it was four of us, and those still my brothers to this day. And
That's incredible.
we formed it together, and we just took off running with it. We were signed at an early age to an independent record label called Biked Out
Wow.
Entertainment.
Yeah.
And they kind of saw the early, I guess, potential in us, and they signed us, but that didn't work out. So then once we got out of those contracts, we started our own at a very young age, and that was when we started to really come into our own. But then years later, I decided to go back to school and earn a certification for personal training, because
Yeah.
I started to get more into fitness and health, because I lost 65 pounds on my own. I was at 2220, my heaviest,
That's
and
amazing.
I'm 5'11", 6 feet. So,
Yeah.
you know, it didn't look that way, but I felt it. So I got,
Yeah.
so I got into that space, and then I started to get inspired to help other people, because I'm an altruistic personality, man. I love to
Right.
help other people. So I got into that, and I started my own mobile fitness company,
Yeah.
and that was widely successful. And I had that running up until the day we left for Atlanta, because we relocated to Atlanta, my wife and our two children.
Yeah.
And that's when I really started to just enjoy and really love entrepreneurship, because I saw the freedom. I was happier. Because before
That's
that, I had a lot
incredible.
of like horrible jobs. I've had the
Yep.
horriblest of jobs. That's a whole nother podcast. But 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 that was when I really started to really understand what entrepreneurship was about, and the work that went into it, not just the glamour. And
Yeah.
once I kind of retired from personal training, um, then it was about, the apparel company that I started, which was Forever Rich in Value, or Frib.
Yeah.
And that was fun for me, because I designed my own like design for my first t-shirt. I taught myself how to use Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator,
That's
and I
incredible.
designed my own designs, and I was on
That's
fire about
incredible.
it. Thank you, man. I mean, it really wasn't as difficult as I thought it was going to be. It really turned
Yeah,
out to be an incredible experience, because, I got to see some of the things that my mind was just, that I created in my mind, be
for sure.
adored by people, be adored by other people. And,
Yeah.
so that was my second business. And let's see, I guess this will be my third. This will be my third, the
Yeah.
app. Yep.
So, all right. So you talked about the music label, the fitness, the fashion. It seems like entrepreneurship has always been there for you.
Hmm.
Like, what do you think? What do you think sparked that? I know for me, we talked about St. Louis. For me, like I don't know. I think it's something about St. Louis that
Yeah.
triggers that in some people. But for you,
Yeah.
what do you think? What do you think it was that that's always like that gave you that initial entrepreneurial bug?
I honestly think it's just always been in me. Honestly, it's just always
Yeah,
been a part of my fabric and my DNA, because, my mother, she worked at Western Union for 20 something years before they laid everyone off. And,
yeah,
that was it. My father, he went to work right after high school, and
yeah.
he's still at the same company. He works at the same company now.
Wow.
So, but
Yeah,
he's had other businesses, other projects that he's worked on.
yeah,
Excuse me, but it was just something that I believe I was born with it. It wasn't like I saw it anywhere, in my immediate family where it inspired me in that way.
yeah,
I think it just really it's attributable to just my personality of always wanting to be, again, diplomatic, be different, be outside the box, not want to
yeah.
kind of follow the crowd, things like that. And
That's super
you
cool.
know what they
Yeah,
say in the city, man, you can't spell hustle without the STL.
yeah,
So
100%. Yeah,
so yeah,
yeah.
that's it, man.
That's awesome. So when as you started these businesses, what were your parents' thoughts? Because I'll say like sometimes I talk to my family who some people have, like you mentioned, career long 9 to 5 jobs. And I
Hmm.
tell them, like, yeah, like I want to be an entrepreneur. And they're like, no. Like
Yeah, yeah.
so,
You need to get a job.
yeah,
Be a
exactly.
jobpreneur. Get a job.
Exactly. So, what was your family's perspective when you came to them with this entrepreneurial passion?
Surprisingly, they were always receptive, and they were always supportive.
Yeah,
When I started doing music, not so much in the beginning,
yeah,
but I believe the first time they saw us actually get um so both my parents, my mother and my father, when we were signed by the independent record label, they came to one of our first shows, and one of our first shows was in East St. Louis, and we opened up for BG. You know, if you know BG
Yeah.
was a Cash Money artist back in the day, so
Yeah.
we opened for him, and this company, they had tour buses and all type of stuff. So we got, we rode there in the tour bus. It was a big event for us. And so I think when they saw that,
Yeah.
they were like, oh, he's really doing something. So
That's
that's when they
awesome.
really started to support it. But before that, it was just about, hey, you need to go to school, get your grades.
Right.
Because I was one of the type of kids where I really didn't go to school as much as I should have. And I didn't, when I was there, I really didn't do what I was supposed to do. It wasn't that
Yeah.
I couldn't do it. It's just I wasn't interested. I was more so into music and,
Yeah.
of course, girls and, all the other stuff, street stuff. But,
Yeah.
but they were supportive, man. They really supported. And, anytime I started a business, they were always supportive.
That's incredible. So, you kind of led us up to MeetVeganBae. Where did that idea initially come from, and how did you make that transition from fashion to MeetVeganBae?
Yeah, so good question. So before I decided to found the dating app,
Yeah.
I had not done anything with my apparel company for a while because I was trying to figure out if I wanted to continue it or if I wanted to, and if I did, how I was going to continue it, revamp it, or just kind of, just have it for family reasons where my whole family would just wear the apparel and no one else. Right.
Right.
And that was just for like a personal thing, not so much for a
Yeah.
business and capital. So, I hadn't done anything, but in college, I had a series of marketing classes. And in one of
Mhm.
the marketing classes, we were tasked with developing a business plan. And if you know anything
Okay.
about doing a business plan, it's very detailed and it's
Yep.
extensive and it takes time. And so it literally took us 8 weeks to do this business plan. Now, of
Wow.
course, you could do it in more rapid time periods, but
Yeah.
we were given 8 weeks to do it because that's how long our terms were. And so during that
Yeah.
time, when I was thinking of a business where I could learn more about a certain industry and apply it, so that way when I finished it, I would already have the business plan complete. And
Mhm.
so the virtual augmented reality part didn't come in until after I graduated, until I met my
Okay.
co-founder. So it
Yeah.
originally started as just a swipe left, swipe right, Tinder, Bumble type of app.
Yeah.
That's all. That's as far as my mind could conceive at that point. And
Yeah.
so that's what it started off as. And so the reason why I decided to do it exclusively for vegans, because my family and I have been vegan since 2017. And
Okay.
so
Yeah.
we experienced a lot of underwhelming or just zero representation when it came to going to find foods, restaurants, things like that.
Hmm.
And so I was, and I would always hear this narrative and this conversation within the community about there being a lack of everything for vegans or plant-based, dietary plant-based people.
Yeah.
And that's what kind of really sparked my interest in, well, I'm a firm believer in every community needs something of their own, something
Yep.
that they can relate more to. And so with that thought process, I decided to develop the app for vegans. And I know I'm familiar with different niches of different products and services for communities of people. So I decided, hey, this would be a good opportunity for me to do that for them, or
That's
for us,
awesome.
really. Well, I'm married,
Yeah.
so I'm not on the app looking for yeah, I'm not looking for nobody, but
Right.
if you are, that's the place where you will go, And so, that's why I wanted to do it for the people that were, that
Yeah.
felt underrepresented.
That's super cool.
Yep.
Okay, so how did you you mentioned the augmented reality, virtual reality portion didn't come until after you met your co-founder. One,
hmm
how did maybe that'll be my first question. How did you meet your co-founder? How did that come about?
I met my co-founder Rex Gatling on Instagram, man.
Oh wow,
Yeah, I saw a
that's
post
awesome.
that. Yeah, man, it was. I mean, and it was crazy because I had just started following his page on
Yeah,
Instagram. I think it was Black Success Today, and they posted something about him, and he
yeah,
had on these weird glasses, and I'm like, what is this dude wearing? I'm like, why would they post him like that? First, I thought he was blind. I'm like, well, okay, well, is he doing something? Is he blind entrepreneur, like what's going on? But then I
Yeah.
read so that's why reading is fundamental, because when I read who he was and what he was doing, I was like, oh wow, that's
Yeah.
dope. And so then I went to his page, and he had already developed a virtual reality nightclub.
Oh, so
And
were they like VR goggles that he had on,
yeah,
or?
that's what he had on. He had on VR, he had on VR glasses, but it's not the Oculus that we see today. It was actually,
Okay.
it looked like shades.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I think it had like a wire coming from it, because it's a different
Okay.
brand of technology. And when
Yeah.
I saw it, it just tripped me out. I'm like, what's going on here? So when I actually read the post, I was like, oh, okay. So then I went to his page and I checked the app that he did, and it was amazing, man. And that's when the light bulb went off. I was like, well, I can do something like this for Meet Vegan Band and make it totally different and just
That's
push the
super cool.
culture forward.
Yeah.
And so surprisingly, when I reached out to him, usually, when you reach out to people, they just ignore you or they don't see it. But
Yep.
he responded like really quick. And I was like, wow, like, all right, cool. So we started building our relationship and our bond, man. And
Yeah.
that's my guy, man. Rex is my guy. His app, his nightclub app is called Nights, NIGHTZ. And
Okay.
really cool app. I think he's still developing some stuff with that, and he's working with
Yeah.
some other things that he has, some other apps. But yeah, man, that's how it started. When I saw him and I saw what he had already created, and I figured it would
Yeah.
be a great idea for what I was thinking of.
That's super cool. So did you already have I'd say like I think you mentioned like when you created the initial business plan, you were thinking like a tender swipe right, swipe left. Did you already have
Hmm.
an app ready to go when you first connect with Rex, or
Yeah. So
okay, yeah.
yeah. So what I started doing was I started developing the app on my own. And
Okay.
there's a certain, I forget the name of it now, but there's a certain platform where you can pretty much build your own app, or you can pay for, you can pay a contractor to do it for you.
Yeah. Was it
And so
not I'm blanking. I just lost the name. It's not Bumble or something.
it
Um
so it's like a
Bubble. Was
template.
it Bubble
No, it
or
wasn't that. It was
Thunkable? I know those are two of the
no,
popular ones.
nope. I can't remember the name of it.
Yeah.
But it allows you to create your app from this template, and then they have contractors who you can, reach out to and have them create it for you for, a certain amount of money or whatever. But
That's super cool.
I decided I wanted to do it on my own first, and right before I got to the point where I was like, nope, I'm hiring somebody. I'm done with this. I found Rex, and so I was like, cool, because I was getting ready to pay a substantial amount of money to get this app built, but I really
Yeah.
didn't want to go and I didn't want to bring it to market like everybody else did. But
Right.
as you may know, when you have a product, you need a proof of concept,
We
and
lost
that
you for a
was
second, Jarrell.
okay. Cool. Sorry about that. No, so
No, you're fine.
I was trying to create a proof of concept. So that was my whole purpose of doing it on my own, but then going maybe paying someone to do it, because I needed that proof of concept to get some
Yeah,
funding and stuff like that, and create users and stuff like that.
that's awesome. Okay, so you and Rex get together. You know, I guess he's bought in. What was your first step?
Mhm.
Like, what was when y'all got together? You said you're going to do this together. Like,
Yep.
what was y'all first step from there?
So the first thing we did was just establish commonality. So we both,
Hmm.
understood that we had the same type of vision,
Yeah,
and we were both passionate about it, and that was the first thing. The second thing was a partnership, and I told him from day one, listen, bro, if you help me with this, you got 50% of this.
that's
And
incredible.
that's pretty much, I'm not, and honestly, if we bring in other investors, man, I'm not greedy like that where I would just
Yep.
want to hold on to my 50%. I have so many ideas that I would love to share the wealth if you're willing to come
Yeah,
in and help. That's my mindset when it comes to, things like this. So when he decided to come on board and, do what he's been doing, 50%, man. And that was from day one, and that'll never change.
that's awesome.
Unless I just want to give him the whole, app, and I just step away from it. But yeah,
Right.
that was the second thing. We just established that partnership, and we've been rocking ever since, man.
That's awesome. Okay, so how long did it take y'all to build the app? Because I know you're live now. How long is that process?
Yeah. Well, you know what? Rex really didn't take long. I think I met Rex in I want to say it was maybe last July
Oh
or
wow,
June. It could
yeah,
have been it could have been either last June or last July when Rex and I met. And
yeah,
then he had the he had the earliest version of the app completed by August. And so he had it functional by August.
that's
But
incredible.
our launch date was November 1st, which is World Vegan Day. And so we worked really hard. And when I say we, I really mean Rex, because Rex was the one doing the groundwork for that one. But I was also on the other end, doing all the marketing and all the
Yeah,
advertising for it. And so we worked hard on that. And so by the time November 1st came around, the app was officially launched in its beta stages. It's still in beta stage,
yeah,
by
of
the way, because we're still, developing it, growing it.
course,
But yeah,
yeah.
we launched it officially on November 1st, World
That's
Vegan Day, no 2022.
that's super cool. I think one challenge, and I think I've felt this myself as an entrepreneur at times. One challenge I think many entrepreneurs face is you have this incredible idea, you end up with an incredible product. How do I now like get people to find out about it and take it to market?
hmm
So I'd love to hear your perspective on that. Like, how did you go to market? What was your go to market strategy?
My go-to-market strategy was awareness, awareness, awareness,
Hmm.
visibility, visibility, visibility. The more, and not only that, but credibility, because
Yeah,
you could be visible to the point where you're like considered spam, right? But
yeah,
you want to be visible and create awareness on credible platforms and with
yeah,
credible things. So my strategy was simply to reach out to as many platforms as I could where I didn't have to pay anything for them,
yeah,
because having conversations about what you're doing, and you're able to basically regurgitate that conversation, or that content is enormous, because any type of awareness and visibility you have on you and what you're doing is going to
yeah,
be a plus. And I'm not trying, I didn't think starting out that I would be on the US news, or the biggest platforms right away. That's not,
yeah,
I'm realistic as well. Of course I'm optimistic, and I'm going to get that one day, but I knew
yeah,
starting out that I needed to go for what they call the low hanging fruit. And no discredit to any of the platforms that have ever, wanted to have a conversation with me and help me in
yeah,
that way, because it's all been amazing and I've been grateful. But I knew that that's where I needed to start, because no one's going to care unless I make them care. And
yeah.
that was one of my ways to make them care. And then, of course, you have to put your own sweat equity and your own money into it. So
Yep.
some things you have to pay for, but you have to be strategic about it as well.
Yeah. I'd love to hear like an example of you kind of hitting some of those platforms that were at
Yeah.
that balance of awareness and credibility. I'd love to hear about that.
Yeah, so one of the first things that I did, I believe this was the actual first thing. I actually got an opportunity to be in an article for a digital magazine.
Yeah.
Call it Atlanta. Shout out Atlanta.
I read
Because
that article and doing my pre-show research. So
yeah,
yeah,
that was my
that's awesome.
I saw I actually saw one of my colleagues that I used to work with in Atlanta at this dope gym called One Life Fitness. If anybody's ever in Atlanta, please go to One Life Fitness. They're super dope gym. But I used to work with this guy, and this is one of my dudes, man. It's my guy, and I
Yeah.
saw him in it, man, and I was like, "Yo, that's a dope article," and I read it, and I reached out to him, and he told me how to go about trying to get in the article or trying to get in this magazine,
Yeah.
and I did it, and they reached back out to me, and then the rest is history, man. I was in that article, and the funny part about it is the day I graduated. Um, I had received the final copy of the article maybe a day before the day I graduated. So that was a super lit
That's
time for me, man.
awesome.
I had graduation pictures I was ready to post. I had the article for the magazine I was ready to
That's
post. I was
super
locked
cool.
and loaded. So
Yeah.
once I got feedback from that, I realized that okay, well I have to keep this going, because I need to start getting this out a little bit more. And so I reached out to another magazine article, and they featured me as well. So I've been featured in a total of 3 digital magazine articles
That's
so far
incredible.
within the last year. And then there's also Instagram platforms that that exalt entrepreneurs that are doing good things in the community as well. And so I reached
Yeah,
out to a lot of those, and I was featured in a few of those last year as well.
that's incredible. That's incredible.
Yep.
Okay, so I have another question on some of the augmented reality and virtual reality. I'm also married, so I've been, I guess, out of the game, off the market for a while.
Okay.
And for dating apps though, I have some ideas here, but I'd love to hear this from your perspective, specifically
Sure.
for like virtual reality and augmented reality. Like, how did, like, in your opinion, how do you think that enhances like that user experience,
Mhm.
and like builds that genuine connection? Because again, like I said this before, but I think this is a really cool, really unique concept.
Thank you. What was the first part of the question? I'm sorry, I got distracted
Yeah,
with
so
something.
basically, basically, virtual reality and augmented reality, how does, like, why that specifically, like what's the benefit of that
Mhm.
for the user experience?
Great question. So one of the main ones that I always think of when I get that question is it's about safety. Safety is a big thing in the dating
Mm,
community because
yeah,
a lot of people are ever since COVID, really, that's kind of really been the, I guess, the revolution of or evolution of the dating community, where a lot of people are just
yeah,
feeling unsafe, and there's a lot of things that could happen when you go to meet someone for the first time. And so with this app, with it being virtual and augmented, it not only can save you money because you're not spending any money on doing actual things and in your
yeah,
area. And so, but it also lends itself to your safety because you're not actually physically there with someone. There's no
yeah,
possible way that they can harm you, right? So, it just keeps people safe for the first time. Now, if you guys want to meet up after that and go somewhere and you get a good vibe from them and you feel like they're cool and you're good, then
yeah,
by all means. But that's an initial place for you to meet up and have some fun and see what this person is like, and you get a chance to interact with them as well on some of the games that we've included in the app as well.
okay, yeah, I think that's a great segue. What is that, walk me through kind of what a typical user experience would be when they first download the app. What's that experience like? How do they find a date? What is that
Mhm.
date? I'd love to hear that.
So the way it works is once you log into the platform, the app, you put in some general information about who you are, things like that, and we're actually working on that as well to make sure that everyone that comes into the app is authenticated and is verified as an actual human. um you have to you have to do that now. You got to make sure there's no bots
Yeah,
involved in your
for
stuff.
sure.
So they log into it, and then so they're able to, now this was just an update that Rex told me about, where they are now able to create their own avatar. So you have your own avatar, you can customize it however
Yeah,
you want to do it. And then you just pretty much, there's 3 floors in this app. It's like a lounge, really, and 3 levels. And you're in there with just you know all the people that are signed in, and
that's
you can
incredible.
go up and meet someone, and there's traction, where it tracks your hands and things like that when you have these headsets on. So you're really just in there just having conversations. You can opt to have a conversation in a separate room, or again, we're gamifying it, and I think that's going to be like the main focus, because you
Yeah,
know just standing around, it can get boring in there, right? So you want to be able to do something. So right now we've implemented bowling. So now you can take you and your date, or you and whoever you find in there, to go bowl, and just talk and get to know each other.
absolutely. That's awesome. How many users do y'all have right now?
You know what? The last time I checked, it was, I think, 1,500 users.
That's
Um,
incredible. Since
but I haven't.
November. That's
Yeah,
awesome.
I haven't checked it in a while. It's really big in the tech community, not so much in the typical consumer right now, because a
Yeah.
lot of consumers are only using, and this is within the tech and gaming community as well. They're just using it for games. They're not using it for things
Mm,
like dating and things like that yet.
yeah.
But that's why we're still trucking. So we're still trying to see what the market is going to turn into, and you know, I think that at some point it'll, they'll start migrating over toward this one, and then, like I said,
Yeah,
they'll be able to do in-person stuff. But yeah, I think about 1,500 users. It may be more, it may be less, I'm not sure, but that's just the last time I checked it.
that's really cool. I think again, like I think one of the things that excited me about this is I think goes back to what you're saying about the tech community has really adopted it. Like virtual reality and augmented
Hmm.
reality, I think is one of those tools or technologies, I guess, that um like the average consumer hasn't yet tapped into, but I think
Hmm.
there's tons of potential and like tons of use cases there. Like so
Yeah.
like to see like a black owned company coming and adopting that really fast. But even like from a dating perspective and a veganism perspective, like
Yeah.
that's really cool. On that note, how do you ensure users are actually vegan? Like how do you verify that?
Well, right now, since we're in the early adoption stages of the app, we are really not tracking who's vegan and who's not. We just happy when you come in the door. Just come in and sit
Absolutely.
down for a minute. Just come and hang out. We're not being sticklers about it like that, man. We're not really,
Yeah.
trying to kick nobody out the door like Jazzy Jeff, and Uncle Phil.
Yeah.
But you know, but at some point, I think I know we're gonna do a way better job at kind of making sure that who we created this community for is for them, and it's going to be for
Yeah.
solely for them. And then there's another kind of caveat to it as well, because a lot of vegan people, they don't mind, or plant-based people don't mind dating people that aren't vegan or plant-based.
Yeah.
So, that's kind of the challenge with the app, is because, even though you're not vegan, doesn't mean that you don't desire to be with somebody vegan, or desire to have a vegan friend or something to kind of help you over that hump if you're looking to do that. And even
Yeah.
even if you're not, you know, I don't know. It's just one of those things. Like I said, we're still trying to see, who's gonna want to use it and why and stuff like that. But
Yeah.
that's interesting, man. I mean, like I said, it's really developed for vegans, and that's how I want to keep it. That's how me and Rex want to keep it. But
Yeah.
we'll see.
That's super cool. You know, can you share a story from one of your users of a cool I'd love to hear like a cool experience from a user using the
Mhm.
app, whether that doesn't have to be a relationship. I mean,
Yeah.
even the friendship as you mentioned, I'd love to hear that.
So again, we're new, right?
All
So
right.
you have people that are using the app, and I guess they expect it to be the way it's supposed to be on day 100, on day 5.
Right.
And so we got our first review, and I was excited about it because, I mean, somebody's using the app, somebody has some feedback. Let's see
Yeah.
it. And I look at it, and they just bashed it. And I screenshot it and I sent it to Rex. And me and Rex laughed about it, but Rex got right on it, and he fixed what the issue, what they were saying the issue was.
Yeah.
And but we laughed so hard about it, man, because number one, we were like, "Whoa, somebody's actually using this," and now they want smoke too. Now they mad about something. Okay, I mean,
Right.
it works. We'll take it. Hey, listen, we'll
Yeah.
take it. And but that's kind of our funny story right now. And honestly, I haven't been on I haven't looked at our data in a while, so I don't
Yeah.
know if we have any other reviews or anything like that. I have to check with
Yeah.
Rex, but that was the first one I saw, and that one tickled me blue, man.
That's awesome. So I know you studied entrepreneurship in college. And
Yeah.
this is a conversation I love having. You know, as you know, this is the MPAKT podcast, but I'd love to
Yes,
hear from
sir.
you, what, in your opinion, what is the impact that entrepreneurship, innovation, creativity, etc., all those different conversations, what's the impact uh, that you think that can have on communities of color?
Man, it's that is a that's heavy, because entrepreneurship, I think, in my opinion, it allows you freedom.
Hmm.
It allows you the freedom to be creative and to be dauntless and to be
Yeah.
impactful, and it also it creates it creates hope and inspiration and imbuement
Yeah.
for the newer generations. And so I think that it's important that we uplift and we talk more about entrepreneurs because so I'll share a quick story with you. When I
Yeah.
first moved to Texas from Atlanta, I
Yeah.
was a unit director at the Boys and Girls Club in Central
Yeah.
Texas. And when I was there, at one of my schools, we asked the children. I forget what the exact question was, but it was something around the conversation of entrepreneurship. And
Mm.
so we had each student, kind of tell us. Well, no, this is what it was. We asked them what they wanted to be when they grew up. That's what the question was.
Yeah.
And most of the answers we got were all about starting their own business. And
Mm.
these are between 9 and 14-year-olds that we were talking to.
Wow.
And so that's I feel that's the
Wow.
impact of entrepreneurship. And I feel like
Yeah.
that's the conversation that needs to be seen and heard throughout our community, because again, there are not a lot of people that look like us in certain
Yeah.
spaces where entrepreneurs have done great things. And no shade or no discredit to any of entrepreneurs that's done anything, but this is just me as a black man in this space
Yeah.
of where I am now. It's needed that we are seeing each other here so
Mhm.
we can support each other and bring the next generation up as well, just like everyone else.
100%.
Equality. Yep.
Yeah. I love that. And you've started several businesses of your own. What's the biggest lesson that you learned throughout your entire entrepreneurship journey?
The biggest lesson is take your time. You
Hmm.
know, don't rush into something because you think it's cool or you want to beat somebody else or you want to be seen. Get into it for the right reasons, but take your time. Because what I learned in college is it takes time to really bring a product to market or bring a service to market from zero, from baby
Yeah.
stages. It takes a lot of time to do that. And one of the things that I learned about myself during that time of developing business plans, marketing plans, advertising, was I rushed a lot of things in business. I rushed a lot. I don't know
Hmm.
why. I guess I felt like I was gonna miss out on something or I was in a rush to make some money. But
Yeah.
either way, it's a bad idea to rush into anything. Take your time, get under some mentorship with with people that have done things similar to you or exactly like you if they're willing to be of value to them when you come into their space, because you need their time. And so you need to be of value, but take your time, don't rush into anything. Seek information. There are a lot of Forbes the culture type of
Yep.
communities that are emerging now, so you can get around people that are actually doing things and you can have think groups and conversations about things. But take your time and get into it for the right reasons, and make sure you're passionate about it. I was talking to my barber one time, and me, hustle mindset, I'm like, man, I could get a
Yeah.
barber shop and I don't even have to be there. I don't gotta cut hair, nothing. I'm pretty decent with clippers, but I'm not cold. Like, I can't
Right.
give you a fade or a taper or nothing like that, but I can line you up real good, right? But I was talking to him and he like, yeah, that's a good idea, but he's like, this is the thing. You should never start a barbershop if you're not a barber, because what can happen is, what if you don't have any barbers? Now you have to find barbers or cut hair yourself. And if you don't already know how to cut hair, your business is dead. And
Wow.
that stuck with me from
Wow.
that point on, because I was like, man, you can't just start something just because you think it's going to make money. You have to actually have a passion for it and be able to do it yourself. A lot of the silent mentors that I follow, like Damon John and, some other
Yep.
people that I follow, they are very good at doing things themselves before they actually got to the point where they were. Damon John, he
Yeah.
created hats in his mother's home before he even decided to go and have other partners and business partners and things like that. He learned it himself. And so that's why when I started my apparel company, I taught myself how to use Adobe Illustrator and
Mm.
Photoshop so that I can create my designs. And then I
Yep.
started learning how to post them. how to get them printed up, what type of material I needed. I knew all of that stuff before I actually started thinking about a team. So it was something that I was passionate about, and I took my time. It was just that once I got to a certain point, it was like, all right, well, how am I going to keep this going? Do I want to revamp it or just use it, just have it for my family? So I still may revamp it at some point. It's still a great brand,
Yeah,
but that's one of the things that I've learned. Just take your time, be passionate about it, and seek information and be of value.
that's great. I love what you said. I especially love the part where you're saying like you gave the example of Damon John learning how to make it himself.
Yeah.
Because like even in what you already shared about this your story of how you created Meet Vegan Bay, like you said, hey, I don't know how to develop, so I'm gonna try to build this thing myself first.
Hmm.
And then at that point, like I think some people would give up on the business, but even then you were like, I'm gonna find someone who can, so it's still built in house. Like
Yep.
that's
It's a
that's
pivot.
yeah, exactly.
Yep.
That's super cool. Okay, so through Meet Vegan Bay, I like I said, you launched in November of last year.
Mhm.
What's been the most unexpected thing like for you as the founder, CEO of this business since you launched?
Um, well, I'm not gonna say I didn't it was unexpected because when you do something you kind of expect results, but you really don't.
Yeah,
I didn't put too much into the expectation of it. So when I reached out to Shark Tank is a show that I watch
I love Shark Tank.
like watching it in
we
2021. We
we
were on a
lost you,
vacation.
Jarrell. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yeah, the last thing I heard you say was Shark Tank is a show that you watch. So I'll
Yep.
let you go from there.
So
I can edit that part out too.
yeah, so Shark Tank is a show that I watch religiously, man. I started watching it in 2021. I knew that it existed, but I didn't really have an interest in it until then because I was in classes where I was doing business plans, I was learning more about the business industries, and so I took a real interest in it. And so since then, I've just been a avid watcher. So when I
Mm.
saw an opportunity to appear on the show as a guest and pitch my business, I did it. So I pitched. I applied for season 13, 14, and
Yeah.
I believe 15. So I recently got a call back from them uh,
What?
about being on the show, but I haven't heard anything back. But that's something that I did. I didn't expect it, right? So when I did it,
Yeah,
because I haven't heard anything from them from like the last times that I applied, I just figured, I'll take another shot in the dark. What's it gonna hurt? I
that's
didn't expect to
incredible.
get a call back. I literally got an email and had an interview with the guy, and it was a great interview. And like I said, I was just excited to get the call, So that was something unexpected, man. To see just the
Yeah,
the um the feedback that I've been getting, the support, and just people telling me this is actually a cool idea. I mean, I knew that it was a crazy idea when I thought about it, and when I talked to Rex about it, we agreed it was nuts. But
yeah.
it's just been kind of not overwhelming, but great to get all of the great feedback and positivity about it.
That's super cool. We I'm over here hoping and praying for you to get that call back because
Yeah.
we would love to see you on Shark Tank.
Oh man, I would love to be on Shark Tank, man. I mean, like I said, we'll see.
Yeah,
Well, if not, I'll just apply for the next one. I'll be on there.
absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah.
What does 2023 and beyond look like for Meet Vegan Bay?
So MeetVeganBae, like I said, we are continuously growing. We're adding new things into the app as we start to get more feedback from our users. And the future looks bright because again, there are a lot of people starting to adopt this technology,
Mhm.
and it's almost to the point where it's inevitable. Like wherever
Yeah,
you go, you're going to see this technology. I mean, Apple is going to release their new headsets for augmented reality. There are other companies that are doing the same thing. So,
yeah,
and there are actually businesses that are out there where you can just go there and experience VR and AR technology. Like
yeah.
they have, places where you can go play Xbox and stuff like that. Now they're setting up spots where you can do that for VR.
That's
And
super
so,
cool.
we're looking to create partnerships with different brands. We have a new feature that we added in the app where we have billboards. So, we have the lounge for the users, but there are also spaces in our lounges on all 3 floors where you can promote or advertise your
I
business.
love
So
that.
that's another thing that we're going to add as well, just for other people to have an opportunity. And we're going to exclusively offer that to vegan businesses, because again, the vegan businesses are
Yeah,
underrepresented in the community, so we want to give them that platform, so they can do that. And so we basically want to create more partnerships. um, of course, brand visibility, brand awareness is one of the main goals right now. So, we'll be, in different, magazine articles, podcasts, interviews, and things
yeah,
like that. So I really want to be, I don't know, like a superstar within this space, because
yeah,
as you know, man, we're the only 2 Black males in the dating app space,
yeah,
not just for vegans, right? But the only 2 Black male founders that I know of that have founded a dating app. And so
yeah.
this is something very new for our community. And I think it should be, again, shouted from the mountaintops, man. And not just because we want to be famous, but it's important that people see of our entrepreneurs, because it gives them more innovation and creative ideas to do something similar or something way better.
That's incredible. I love that. And even like when you were talking about like putting the advertisements for vegan businesses inside the app, I think oftentimes like in tech especially, you see businesses, not start thinking about some of their revenue streams until like five,
Yep.
6 years down the line. But like,
Yep.
um, ironically, you are the third Black tech founder I've had on the show, I believe. And
Oh, nice.
like in our community especially, it's really cool to see that those revenue streams kind of built early into the business model.
Hmm.
Somebody should do some research on that. That'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe I should do it. I want to study that. Maybe no one else
Yeah, I
does.
mean, it's no different than, like, if you sign up for a dating app, you have a profile on there, and if you don't
Yeah,
pay for a certain subscription, you see all the ads at the bottom of the screen.
yeah,
That's pretty much what we're doing, but it's an AR VR version of it, and that we call it, they're billboards. They're not just ads, they're
yeah.
billboards. So if you're
That's
walking
awesome.
down the street in New York and you're in Times Square, you see all of the billboards, sell, 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 buy, buy,
Yeah.
buy. And it's going to be, similar to that. And so, that's kind of how we decided to, create additional revenue for the app.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. Okay,
Yep.
so I have a couple questions for you, unrelated
Okay.
to the business.
Okay.
Before I kind of go to my final question, um, as a vegan, what's your favorite food or dish?
You know what? My wife is such an amazing cook, man. Like, well, I'm really simple too. So right now, like for dinner tonight, for example, we're having a medley of beans,
Yeah.
jasmine rice, and blue corn chips. I love that meal because
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
just the way she seasons it, man. I don't know, but it's just, I can eat that like 7 days a week.
That
But
sounds
besides,
delicious, actually.
yeah, it really is, man. It's really wholesome, and it gives you that soul food feel, man, without having all of the other stuff in there. But other than that, man, I mean,
Yeah.
I really enjoy, and we can barbecue now. We have hot dogs, and Polish sausages and things like that. I really love breakfast, pancakes, sausage, eggs, and yes, we do eat eggs as vegans. There's a lot of things that we can use for that. But this brand that I really love is Just Egg. We use that for our eggs and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
I really can't say my favorite. I guess pizza. We do homemade
Okay.
pizza every Friday is pizza night. So we do that. And I really like the fried cauliflower that I make. I make a really
Okay.
good
Yeah.
fried cauliflower. And so it's breaded like chicken, and
Yep.
then it's fried like chicken, and then that's it. And then sometimes I may add some type of like special barbecue sauce with it, or just eat it like it is. And that's pretty much it, man. We have a blast in the kitchen, man.
Okay. I must confess, I tried to go vegan probably about 2 months ago.
Okay.
And I went from like my favorite food being pork ribs, to
Hmm.
trying to go vegan. It was it was not like a smooth transition.
Yeah.
So it failed miserably. But what I will say is, I would say we now eat some vegan dishes.
Okay.
So I'm like doing, I guess, a very, very soft transition
Yeah.
to veganism.
Hey,
Um,
congratulations on that,
yeah,
man. So what? So let me ask you a question. What makes you want to go make that transition?
yeah. I think just the health benefits.
Okay.
I mentioned, like, grew up in St. Louis. But I played football my whole life, and as football, I was a lineman. You're told
Hmm.
eat, eat, eat. We need you bigger. We need you stronger,
Yep.
etc. And then like when you stop playing football, you end with all these bad eating habits, and you think
Mm.
that you can just outwork a bad diet all the time. Um,
Yep.
and after a while, I'm like I just wanted to eat cleaner in general.
Yeah.
And the more and more I started eating cleaner, I started noticing, like, sometimes when I eat too much meat, like, I don't feel as good as I thought I would.
Yeah.
Or like, also, like, the typical American diet is like very, very processed.
Hmm.
A good place to start for me was eating vegan food from time to time. So I say that's what kind of inspired
Nice.
that transition for us. So
That's dope, man. That's dope to hear, man. I wish you the best on that journey. If you ever need some type of, tips or recipes or, my go-tos, just let me know, man. I got
all
you.
right, for sure, for sure. I'm gonna hold you to
Yeah,
that.
do it. Do
For
so.
sure. And then, I must ask, what food do you miss the most since since
Wingstop,
transitioning?
man.
Why Wingstop?
Wingstop, man. Wingstop. And then they got the nerve to come out with these 12 flavors of chicken sandwiches now. Oh man, I see that commercial every day because I'm watching the playoffs right now. So they
Yeah,
advertising is heavy. And I see this commercial like every 10 to 12 minutes. And I just want a chicken sandwich every time. But I really miss them lemon pepper flats. And and
yes.
that, oh man, I miss Wingstop. It's torture when I drive past it and they like peak hour and they cooking and you smell it. Oh man, it's torture. But yeah, I'm a
That's
disciplined
great.
man, so I just keep it pushing, man. I just keep it pushing.
That's great.
Yep.
And then, as a St. Louisan, I was just back in the city this past weekend.
Okay.
I'd love to hear from you. What's the thing you love about St. Louis? Because I gotta put the city on.
Oh, for sure, man. St. Louis has a lot of hidden gems. I mean, if you're from the city, you hear a lot of negative narrative about the city. I have
Yeah,
my own about the city, but I'm from there. I can say stuff. I can
yeah,
do that. That's my
hundred
family,
percent.
right? But St. Louis, on the flip side of that, St. Louis has a lot of great things about it and inside
Mhm.
of it. One of the things, so whenever we touch down, and my wife and I, we take the kids sometimes, we go to Pie Pizza in the U City Loop. The U City Loop is a vibe in itself.
Okay,
If
yeah,
you've never been to St. Louis, go to
yes,
the
it
U City
is.
Loop. It's not what it used to be because they've kind of gentrified it a little bit, but it's still
Yeah,
cool. It's still cool.
a lot of
So
it.
the U City Loop, yeah, a lot of it, man. Yep. They got the trolley down there now again. So, it's a
Yep.
different place, but it's still a good vibe for the place. We used to do a lot of our shows at Cicero's. I don't know if you remember that, but that was
Yeah,
yeah, we used to do a lot of our shows there, and that was like one of the best times of my life because the
that's
vibe of
awesome.
the city was just it was just so welcoming and so eclectic, man. It was dope, vibrant, electric, everything. And then so that's
Yeah.
one of the other things I didn't know. I'm a chess player. And so
Okay, yeah.
St. Louis has the biggest chess piece in the world in the city
Yep.
at this chess place, at the chess museum, actually.
Yeah.
And so
The
the
city,
museum,
they host the chess world championship every year too, right? I think I
they
learned about that a couple of years ago or something like that.
they may, I'm not sure about that
Okay,
one, but
okay.
that it wouldn't surprise me because again, that's a hidden gem. And so
Yeah.
the chess museum is amazing if you're into that type of stuff. And then they also have a chess club across the street where you can join and learn how to play chess and play other
Yeah.
people. Really cool stuff. Of course, we have the free zoo. I think it's probably one of the only free zoos in the world.
Yep.
We have the science center. I've always loved the science center. Man, what else? I mean, um, They have a lot of new vegan spots too. Let me just throw that in there. Sweet Art St. Louis. If you're
Yeah,
into like, if you love cookies, that's another one of my favorite like vegan foods is like cookies, brownies, because it you really don't taste the difference. But
right.
Sweet Art St. Louis, amazing place, black owned place. Her vibe
I will be there.
is everything. Yeah, and she has the most delicious. And I think she hand makes her cookies and brownies and stuff too. But she has other stuff
Yeah,
in there. So yeah, so we have a lot of new emerging things that are I just think a lot of people don't know much about. But if you just really take the time to explore St. Louis, just as a tourist,
yeah,
I'm not telling you to go to the hood and get that vibe, but be a tourist for a minute. If you even if you're from the city, be a tourist. Go around
yeah.
and go do things that you wouldn't normally be into, and you'll be surprised. Ballpark Village is another great place to
Yep.
go visit. They have that gym I was talking about down there too, One Life Fitness. That's a great
Okay,
gym.
yeah.
Yep, man. So yeah, a lot of things, man. I'm probably leaving a lot of stuff out, but yeah.
Yeah, I love it. Like I said, I'm being there, but my wife's from Chicago, so every
Okay.
time we go down there, I try to put on the tourist lens. And like,
Yeah.
what can I show her about the city? Because she's like, Chicago's huge, St. Louis is a small town. I'm like, we're smaller. We're not a small town.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I mean,
while
of
we're
course,
here,
you had an arch and all of that stuff too. That's kind
yeah,
of evident, but there are other, like I said, smaller hitting gyms in there that you
yeah,
can have a good time.
100%. All right,
Yep.
I love that. Jarrell, this was a phenomenal conversation.
Yes,
Yeah,
sir.
just super super grateful for you taking time to connect today. How can people get, like I said, get in touch with you, get in touch with the company? Where can people find you online? And I'll be sure to link all of it down below as well.
Yeah, for sure, man. And let me just say it's been a great conversation with you, man. And I immensely appreciate you for taking the time to have a conversation with me. I enjoyed this dialogue, man. And if anybody wants to, reach out to me, you can do so on my Instagram page at J_the_trainer. I probably need to change that because I'm retired from training, but I'll keep it for now. But yeah, J_the_trainer. And then the app is MeetVeganBae, at Meet_Vegan Bay. And you can also visit our official website, MeetVeganBae.com. And that's where you can get access, have access to the Instagram, the Facebook page, things like that. And also myself. So if you want to reach out to me or, my co-founder Rex, that's where you find us at.
Awesome. Well, thank you again. Thank you again, Jarrell.
Yes, sir.
Everyone, thanks again for tuning into the MPAKT podcast. I'll see y'all again next Tuesday.
Peace.